Okay, I'm continuing my reading, and to reiterate, in this series, I am reading the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading according to a chronological order of events, not publication or volume, so I will be jumping around a bit. Right now I am in the book of Genesis, and whenever I read in the Bible, I will include portions of the Joseph Smith translation, which is an inspired correction or translation made by Joseph Smith to restore those portions of the Bible that have been lost over time. We are picking up in chapter 31 of Genesis. My previous video was the first half. We are now doing the second half. To do a brief recap of events in this chapter, Jacob has snuck off in private, leaving Laban to go back to his father Isaac. Laban finds out about it. He also finds out that Rachel had stolen some idols of his, and so he pursues Jacob, but God tells him not to do Jacob any good or harm, not saying anything good or bad. Don't threaten him, don't promise him, just leave him alone. So when he gets there, he says, look, I meant to do stuff, but God says not to, so just give me my gods back and we'll be okay. Jacob tells him to search. He searches, but because of some deception by Rachel, he does not find them. And that is where we are picking up, is just after the search where Laban has failed to locate his missing gods. So we are picking up in verse 36. And Jacob was wroth and showed with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin that thou hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, what hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years have I been with thee. The ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was. In the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hast sent me away now empty. God hath seen mine affliction, and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. So Jacob is really getting mad at Laban here. So what? You accuse me of stealing, and you have no proof. I let you search all my stuff. You can't find any proof of me stealing anything. But for the last 20 years, you have been mistreating me. You have been deceptive. You kept changing my wages. And, I never took anything from your belongings. I never took any of your sheep. But if something happened to your sheep, you made me pay for it. And I've lost sleep. I've not been getting good sleep. And the only reason I'm able to leave is because God is with me, because God came and told you to leave me alone. If God hadn't done that, you would have come here, taken all my stuff, and left, and kicked me out by myself. How dare you accuse me? I love this chastisement here, but let us continue. Verse 43, and Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle. And all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have borne? Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. So Laban's kind of trying to flip it over on Jacob. I can't steal anything from you. All this stuff belongs to me anyways, but God told me to leave you alone, so we're going to just leave it there. Verse 45. And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, gather stones. And they took stones and made an heap. And they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it Jegar-sahadutha. And Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Gilead. And Mizpah, for he said, the Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent from one another. Okay, just a brief thing. The name Jegar-sahadutha, interesting name, that is Aramaic means heap of witness. The name Gilead is Hebrew, meaning heap of witness. Remember that Laban was an Aramean. He was descended from Eber, and so he would have been a Hebrew, except that his family had taken residence with the Arameans. His mother was likely Aramean. He was now of the Aramean culture, and therefore he is an Aramean. He is speaking Aramaic in general, while Jacob is Hebrew. He kept his Hebrew culture. Now, the name Mizpah that it says means lookout point. So but let us keep that in mind, lookout point. Here we go. Verse 50. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness betwixt me and thee. And Laban said to Jacob, Behold this heap, and behold this pillar which I have cast betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and that thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillar unto me for harm. And God, the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge betwixt us. And Jacob sware by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, and kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed, and returned unto his place. So, the heap of stones, it was a big heap because they ate on it. It was a table-sized heap. And this was the sign, this was the border. Laban saying, look, you don't come north of here, I don't go south of here. We keep ourselves separate. And this is the sign. That's why we have Mizpah, the heap, the lookout point. This is the border line. This is the kind of, the heap would be the watchtower on the border. But I do find this one last thing interesting. It says the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, not the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac. Now, if you'll recall, Nahor was Abraham's brother. He is the father of Bethuel, who is the father of Laban. So Laban's talking about his grandfather. So Nahor did worship the true God. We are given no direct indication that he worshipped idols as well. We know that Abraham's father, Terah, worshipped idols. But we're given no direct indication that Nahor did. But we know that Nahor at least worshipped the true God to some extent. And with Laban being the one speaking here, it would make sense that he refers back to his own grandfather as well as Abraham. And I find that is a fascinating little detail there. And it does show us that Laban, he at least knows the traditions, the true traditions of the gospel from his grandfather, even though he now has idol gods, probably gotten from the Arameans among whom they were living at the time. But I did find that a very interesting little detail in this account. But in the end, of course, Laban and Jacob do part as somewhat, amicably. They're not at war anymore. But I believe this will be the last we hear of Laban in the Bible, in this record. So Laban was not an honest man. But he left Jacob alone when God told him to. So he was not the most righteous, but he was not truly evil either. He was just a dishonest man. But we'll leave it there, and we will see you in the next one.